So we probably arrived to the video that a lot of you may have wanted to see. I finished my comparison through E.M.E. On my main rifle, my small game rifle, and my sidearm. And the results were very interesting. Very interesting. I honestly didn't think that it was going to be this way, but it did come out this way, and I think it's going to provide me with a lot more efficiency, mobility, and endurance. So let me first give you how I did this comparison. I got when it came to the main rifle, I got 4 out, and essentially the 4 that I try to use the most because it's just more comfortable to me. For the main rifles, I use the M1A tanker 308. I use the Henry lever action 3030, the one with the side gate. I use the Ruger Guidon 3006 and the KS 47 762x39. That was for the main rifle. For the small game rifle, I kind of kept it simple. Didn't went through like, oh my god, I'm just gonna have a whole bunch. No, I have 3. I had the Henry 22 lever action, I had the Ruger 1022, and I had the Savage Model 42. Now, after I completed those 2, I was like, let me now jump into my sidearm. A lot of you may disagree with my choices, and I have a ample variety what to choose from. But the ones that I use the most is the Ruger Security 6 357 Magnum. I do have Ruger GP 100s and whatnot, but they're just too heavy and it fit in my hand good. But the Ruger Security 6, it's just one of my favorites. There's a little bias in there, but I removed bias throughout this system. I really truly did. The second one was the Pieta Western 2 357 Magnum single action. It's pretty much a copy, a replica of a Colt single action. And the third one was the Springfield XDM Elite in 9mm. That was the only one that is striker fire and semi-auto. Everything else was either a double action or single action, and the other 2 were in 357 Magnum. Those of you who don't know, the 357 Magnum can actually shoot 38 special. So it's just one of those things that I was like, but the system spoke, and I intend to honor the system because I think going through the numbers, it just makes sense. So now that I give you a broad explanation of things, let's just jump into each category, and I'm gonna leave chapters in this video. That way you can jump to whichever it is that you want to watch first, and I will provide a post like I always do with all the breakdown and whatnot, with all 3 elements: the main rifle, the small game, and the sidearm. That way you see how I arrived to this conclusion. Now, I want to remind everybody that this is just for me. For me, that's it. This is not for you. This is just me sharing how my system works for my benefit. Plain and simple. Okay, so let's jump into the main rifle. Power outages, camping, work on the go. OUPES keeps you connected at home and outdoors. With clean, reliable energy, OUPES powers freedom. OUPES, the choice of the frontier preppers. Alright, so just to recap, the main rifles that I mainly use is the M1A tanker 308, Henry lever action, or 3030. Different 3030s that I have, but mainly I have been using the Henry lever action. I enjoy it most than any other ones. I know, sacrilege. The Ruger Guidon 3006 and the KS-47 and 7.62-39. If you remember, I said months ago that, because the price of ammo, it keeps pushing me to a smaller caliber, and that's why I did a switch in there based on, just money on the KS-47, and this one specifically is in 7.62-39. So that's just a little for you to understand the main rifles that I use. They're all 30 caliber. Again, this may not be suited for you. I need something big, if you will, because of the animals in here are a little big. But I started going in through the evaluation, and I was like, you know what? I need to see how well this will perform. And truth to be told, I have used all of this during winter time, whether it's during this winter or past winters and whatnot. So the efficiency and reliability to a point is not that much of an issue. I know how far I can push this tools, but I just never put numbers in it. So that's what I did this time around. I put numbers. I added something in there. I added a reload, and I added maintenance, and I added accuracy. That way you can see. I added impact efficiency. These are things that are very important. So I started going through all of that, and I got to tell you that after going through it, essentially in the efficiency area, I had a tie between the tanker and the KS-47, 7.4. I was like, whoa, okay. So I moved into mobility. And when I started moving into mobility is when things started to change a little bit. Because now weight comes into consideration. And the previous one, I said the M1A and the KS-47 tied together. In this one, unfortunately, the M1A tanker just tank. It's a heavy rifle. It actually scored only 6 when it came to weight. The KS-47 scored an A, and the one who essentially won was the 30-30, because the Ruger Guy Gun actually scored it below the KS-47. The Ruger Guy Gun is a heavy gun. It's a great gun, but it's heavy. So the winner here was the Henry 30-30. And I was like, okay, well, and probably all of you are like, Billy, 30-30 lever actions have been great bush guns forever. Well, just look at the post so you can see my numbers, and hopefully you understand that it takes a little bit more, at least to me, to make a decision of this magnitude. Now, endurance is something that you have to consider really good. How long is it going to last? And honestly, after I run the numbers and everything, it was a clear winner right here. The Ruger Guy Gun will last forever. The 30-06, that Ruger Guy Gun 30-06 will last forever. It got a 9.0. That's how good the Ruger Guy Gun is. So, as you guys can see, the numbers are everywhere. So you have to tally up everything in order for you to get a winner on this, because otherwise you're just going to have way too many tools, and you're like, okay, what am I supposed to do? So I tally up everything, and I'm going to give you from the bottom up. The M1A tanker 308 scored 21.4. It's a good system, but it weights, and that fatigue it gives them a lot of penalties, so it push it all the way down to number 4. The KS-47 rank number 3, 23.4. A great balance of firepower. Ammo availability is there, and mobility. The problem is that the other 2 categories overshadow the KS-47. Number 2 was the Ruger Guy-Gun 3006, 23.6. When it comes to endurance, it just took the cake. Ruggedness, same thing. But once you put all the numbers together, the Henry 3030 took the win, took the number 1. Because it allows me for better real life movement. It's a lot easier to handle. It is lightweight. It provides or it gives me a low burden when I'm up there. And it is highly reliable. So in this case, the Henry 3030 won. Now, that does not mean that I didn't have to do a few tweaks, because everything, nothing is perfect. One of the things that I had shared with y'all is that when it comes to winter, you have to wear large gloves and whatnot. Well, both of these rifles came with small loops. So I needed to order large loops, and they are now installed. That's why this video took a little bit, because I wanted to have it installed and whatnot before I will share with y'all. So I changed the loops. For the 3030, it was an easy thing to do. The other one was a little bit more complicated. The instructions were not, they were there, they were just not. There was a part that it was a bit confusing on this area right here. I didn't know whether it was running on top or on the bottom, because nothing was said in the instructions. In fact, in here I even put it goes under. So in future, I will remember. The other thing is that on this lever, specifically for the 22, this is just one piece. What they sent me, and I don't think there will be a problem. What they sent me is now they're getting this part and the lever sandwiched together, and I would have liked it to be just one piece, but I don't think it will be a problem. But yeah, that's something that I noticed. The other one, literally like the 3030, was something as simple as removing one pin, putting the other one in, and that's it. So these are the old ones. I'm just gonna put them away because I don't need it for now. But these are tools or parts that I don't want to get rid of them. The other thing is that I needed to order a hammer extension for this one and for that one. I didn't need it as much for the 3030 because there's enough clearance in there with the scope, and I did scope this one. I put a loophole on it. I know a lot of folks are gonna say, well, you should have left it open side. Glasses, guys, glasses. I'm in my mid-40s, so come on. But I needed to add a hammer extension, especially for the 22. Not as much for that one, but I was like, you know what, I'm already here, let me just get one. I was pleasantly surprised that Henry actually does have a hammer extension for this type of hammers. This type of hammers are not like your old Winchester that you can just put it in there. No, it's just different. The inside is a little more narrow, and in fact I tested that hammer with my Marlin 336 and it fits. So I order now a second one so I can put it in my Marlin. But I needed to put hammer extensions. That way it's a lot easier. So now both have hammer extension and both have levers and both have scopes. This one is a Leopold and this one right here is a Vortex. And I make sure to put everything to specs, you know, like I went through. So I will be using the 30-30 as my main rifle. Previously I said that I needed to change to the KS-47 because of price and whatnot, but fortunately I was able to get my hands on a lot of this 30 caliber 170 grain flat nose for reloading 30-30. Previous to that, this is the ammo that I was using. I like it, but I can save a lot of money on reloading, but it's hard to get this type of things here. I was able to get it, so now I have plenty of bullets, if you will, to reload, and I have enough cartridges to last me for a while. So I'm not concerned on the price. And if you want to know how much I pay for 30-30, here it will be pretty much the same price for 308 or 3006. It is $30.99 for a box of 20. That's how much I paid for it here. By reloading it myself, it's gonna cost me way less than half. So, all right, so that is it for the main rifle. Let's now move into the small game. Power outages, camping, work on the go. OUPES keeps you connected at home and outdoors with clean, reliable energy. OUPES powers freedom. OUPES, the choice of the frontier preppers. For the small game, let's recap again. I got the Henry 22 LR lever action, the Ruger 1022 semi-auto, and the Savage Model 42 that is a single action at 22 and a 410 on the bottom. In here, you probably already know that I chose the Henry 22 LR because I was just talking about it in my previous section. But nonetheless, I would like you all to go and check the post in regards to efficiency, mobility, and endurance, and the reasons why I chose the Henry 1022. When it came to endurance, there was a tie there, Henry 22 and the Savage Model 42. When it came to endurance, they did had a tie. There was a mobility, the Henry did one as well, and in efficiency, the 1022 actually took both the Savage Model 42 and the Henry. So the Ruger 1022 won the efficiency by 8.8. The mobility section, the Henry 22 LR lever action took the win with 9.0. And endurance, we had a tie with the Henry and the Savage. So to tally up, let's go from the bottom up. The Savage Model 42, 22 and 410, tally up to 24.8. It's a really sweet rifle, and I have been using it ever since I got it. But that single shot, especially in winter time, it's hard to deal with, especially with large gloves. So it does suffer when it comes to reloading and speed. So that's why the Savage was number 3. The other thing that I want to touch upon the Savage is the price of the ammunition. You have to pay so much for 410, pretty much double of what you will pay for 20, probably triple what you will pay for a 12 gauge. So the price makes it a bit hard to make it past the 3rd place. Don't get me wrong, it's a really fun rifle, really accurate. The 22 is really accurate, and versatility wise, it's great. However, for the purpose of E.M.E, it just did not score as high as the other ones. Not as much as you may think. I go look at the rankings through E.M.E when it came to the small game. You will be like, oh, okay. So it was not as bad as you may think. Now, the Ruger 1022, again, did not rank first, mainly because it only exceeded in that first category. Everything else, it was taken by the Henry. It's a great for trapping, great for large areas where you have to take a lot of shots. But at the end of the day, the Henry 22 just took the win. It's light, it's the simplicity of it. It's just amazing. It has a thinner profile, minimal maintenance, perfect for thick brush, and the Henry scored 27.2. So again, I would encourage you to go check the final E.M.E scores and see how I evaluated the whole thing. It will perhaps give you a different perspective, because I know a lot of folks are dead set on the Ruger 1022, and I will say this: if I'm doing a hunt that requires me to be quiet and requires to take more shots than anything else, you better believe it that that's where the 1022 is gonna shine. And I will not hesitate to take it, because the 1022 that I have, it's just a great little tool to take to places that I can put the shusher in it and running. This is the one that I've been running on that one. This is the standard velocity, so it's fairly quiet. So something to keep in mind. But any other circumstances, it will be the Henry 22 LR. Plus, now with the big loop, I don't have any issues, just doing everything. That was one of my complaints when it came to the Ruger. That it's just the trigger guard is too small. I couldn't handle it properly. And in the Savage Model 42, I can't reload. I have to take my gloves off. So those are the reasons why the Henry won. So now let's move to the final category, the sidearms. Power outages, camping, work on the go. OUPES keeps you connected at home and outdoors. With clean, reliable energy, OUPES powers freedom. OUPES, the choice of the frontier preppers. Once again, let's recap to share with y'all which firearms I evaluated here. I evaluated the Ruger Security 6 357 Magnum, the Pieta 1873 Great Western 2 357 Magnum. This is a single action. This is essentially a clone of a Colt single action. And the Springfield XDM Elite in 9mm. This is the only one striker fire semi-auto. And I was quite surprised. I was quite surprised by this one, because I really did thought that the Ruger Security 6 was going to take everything. And that was not the case. When it came to efficiency, the Springfield XDM had the highest performance per effort. And you may think, well, Billy, come on, really? It did. It just did. I would encourage you to go see it. I put in there shot efficiency, ammunition efficiency, reload efficiency, practical accuracy, and maintenance efficiency. The Springfield XDM does have a red dot on it. For those of you who are concerned, because it's on me all the time, I'm not that worried about the battery dying on me. Plus I have, I think, 40,000 hours of running time, and I have auto shut off. But nonetheless, if you worry, my advice to you is, just at the beginning of the year, put an alarm in your calendar, and every January 1st, just change the battery, get a brand new one, and that's it. They don't cost that much. So when it came to mobility, the Springfield XDM did won. Faster draw, best cold weather manipulation. That's something that you have to consider. If you can't shoot it in cold weather, then there's no point, right? So I encourage you to go see everything in there in the post, and that way you understand why the Springfield actually did won this category. Now, Endurance. When it came to endurance, the Springfield did not win endurance. In fact, Ruger won the endurance. Ruger Security 6 won the endurance. The revolver is a lot more simplistic. In fact, the Ruger Security 6, you can disarm it, take it apart with a dime. If you have never seen that, I encourage you to look it up online. Disassembling a Ruger Security 6, it is the most simple thing ever. The most simple thing ever. And revolvers are just simple. The problem with all of that is that you only have 6 bullets. In comparison with the Springfield XDM, you have 19. So, something to consider. And even loaded, it just weighs less. So, and again, I have all the numbers in there, and I went through everything. That way, you know which one it is, and the reasons why. So, the ranking. Let's start from the bottom. The Pieta Western 2 got 20.6. It is fun. It is a great firearm to take to the range. Mine has sentimental values because it was chosen by my son on my birthday. I took him and I wanted to get one, and he chose that one. So I do use it at the range quite a bit. When we go, it makes him smile because he's always like, yeah, that's the one that I chose for you, Dad. So it's not that I'm putting it away or anything. I'm using it. But for the system, it just didn't make it. It was number 3. Excellent for the range, but it's just slow. Really, really slow. It's a single action. The Ruger Security 6, extremely high endurance. If you need a sidearm that is going to last you 30 years. In fact, the Ruger Security 6 is by far my favorite revolver. By far. It will take abuse. It's a tank. It's a tank. It is a firearm that it was built back when the police force used a 357 Magnum full loads. Now those full loads, you know what they are considered? The Buffalo Bores. Yeah, that arm was designed to shoot those all day out. In fact, again, there are videos up there with the Ruger Security 6 with over 1 million rounds and they're still going. And there are parts everywhere. However, it did not make number 1. It was close. It was at 25.8, so it was close. The Springfield, however, did. The Springfield XDM Elite did. It's fast, it's light, it is reliable, it is easy to run under stress or cold, and you have a lot of rounds. A lot of rounds. So you can have 19 in the magazine, 1 in the chamber, that's 20 rounds, and still weighs a lot less than the other two. So the Springfield XDM won by 26.4. So yeah. And the ammo that I use, a lot of people may not agree with me, but this is what I use. And always remember, you have to do you. It's this. That's it. This is all I use. I know. A lot of folks are going to say, are you crazy? Remember, you have to do you, and I will do me. So that is it. That is my 3 firearms run through the E.M.E system. Let me know which ones are yours. Yours probably are different than mine. Remember, mine are for me and for my purpose alone. Yours, in fact, yours should be different no matter what. Because your purpose most likely is a lot different than mine. But these are mine. Main rifle will be the Henry 3030, and I use 170 grain bullets, so plenty of power within 200 yards. Plenty of power. I will be using the Henry 22 for small game. More than accurate enough. Trust me, it works perfect. And the sidearm well, that's what I have been using pretty much every single day. The Springfield XD-AIM 9mm, really accurate, and I use just regular ammo. 20 rounds. That's it. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let me know your E.M.E system when it comes to firearms. Again, most likely it will be different. And if you don't mind, go check out that post and let me know what you think. Let me know if your may be different than mine. Well, I know for a fact it will be different than mine, because no E.M.E system will ever be the same. With that being said, I hope you have a great one. Like always, rock on, prep on, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye, everybody. If you'd like to support the channel, check out the links in the pinned comment below. Consider joining our Frontier Prepper Squad or let an adder to you run. It really does make a difference. And always remember, those who prepare today will not struggle tomorrow.